Hello, listeners. Welcome to a special anniversary episode of Stars of the Golden Age. I'm not going to be sharing the life of any legends today. I just want to release this little extra piece as a thank you to all of you as the show celebrates its 1-year anniversary. I can't believe it's been a year already since I first released that Vivian Lee episode. But then again, as I reflect on the past year, I can really see how far I've come. I feel like I've really grown as a storyteller and I've really found my voice as a podcaster. Anyways, I just wanted to take some time to thank you and share a little bit about the journey that led me to starting the show. You can still expect an episode tomorrow on Tuesday. Actually, I will be releasing one of our Patreon bonus episodes so you can see how much fun it is over there. And then I promise next week we'll get back on track with new riveting episodes about Golden Age stars. May has been wildly busy for me, but I had a plan and everything was going to get done. But then we had some devastating wildfires break out where I live, and both our cabin and our house for a little bit was in danger for a while. So for about a week, my mind was nowhere near clear enough to focus on writing content. So instead of my finely tuned plan of getting ahead, I got stuck behind a little bit because of the fires. I'm happy to say, though, that our friends who live right in the center of the fires still have homes, thanks to the remarkable work of the fire crews that came from all over the state, and beyond, actually. And nobody was injured, so we are very happy for that. Unfortunately, many people lost their cabins and a few others lost their homes. It's been a really sad time for our community. Thank you so much to the brave fire crews and other professionals who stepped up to control these fires. A couple of my preschool students actually have firefighter parents, and we are incredibly proud and thankful to them for their family sacrifices that they had to make during this difficult time. So, all that said, my brain is functioning normally again, and I have the stress of the wildfires, preschool graduation, preparing for summer term preschool, and organizing a big fundraiser event all behind me. Plus, my husband's birthday, our wedding anniversary, and our dear friend's wedding that was in May. Congrats to Marty and Amanda. It's a miracle that I made it through the other side. But it means you get a really cool bonus episode tomorrow. It is The History of the Hollywood Sign. It's a really interesting episode. I'm not going to make a habit of sharing bonus content on the regular feed because I want that to be special for the Patreon members, but this is a special circumstance. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you really like it, come on over to Patreon and you can see some more. Now, I want to share with you a little about my journey into the wild world of podcasting. I've had a lifelong love of learning. Well, except for high school and the first little bit of college. I had a love for partying then. But once I matured a little bit, I just kept finding myself wanting to go back to college. Just keep piling on degrees. But guess what? That's super expensive, and I'm not super rich. So I read. I read a lot about the human brain, human behavior, and history. I love learning about history. I get that from my dad, who was a historian, especially the American Civil War era. I have also always listened to podcasts as part of my enrichment of the mind. I've listened to podcasts since before podcasts were podcasts. I started listening in the late 90s, early aughts to NPR shows like Fresh Air, The Story with Dick Gordon, God, I miss him, The Splendid Table, This American Life, A Prairie Home Companion, and Car Talk. And of course, the old-timey radio broadcasts. And then, when the first magical iPhone landed in my hands in 2007, there it was. That little, beautiful purple square that brought you into a world of countless shows. Podcasts for everyone. I know I've said it before, but I don't watch TV, and the only movies I watch are for this show. I don't listen to a lot of music either. My world is loud. I'm a preschool teacher. I don't need more loud. So outside of my classroom, I prefer either silence, the sound of nature, or one of my favorite podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcast hours. So for the past few years, I thought it would be kind of fun to start my own podcast. But about what? And would I do it by myself or with a friend? That sounds kind of challenging. My friends and I can hardly get together for a quick happy hour drink every couple months, so how would I be able to produce a whole show with one of them? Plus, I'm a perfectionist and I work best alone. I operate a business and I haven't worked for a company or with coworkers for that matter for 20 years. So solo it would be. But what would I talk about? That's where my love of learning comes in. The most logical thing would be to talk about my field of work and study, child development and early childhood education. But I already write a column about that for our local newspaper, and I'm swimming in the topic for 40 hours every week as it is. Plus, there really isn't a big listener base for that topic, and there are already a few really good shows out there about early childhood education. So then I thought, what would be a good topic that I could take this journey on and learn more along the way? A topic I love but am not an expert on. But I can take listeners on a journey with me to become experts together. And there it was, the glamorous golden age of Hollywood. So I know we're supposed to sit on ideas like this, to not jump right into things. Think it over a little, weigh the pros and cons. Well, I'm really impatient, so I didn't do that. I had the idea, I really liked it, and then I had a 3-week vacation from work where my mom and I took an amazing trip to Athens and the Greek islands. So my busy life that doesn't allow for very much thinking and pondering just allowed me a 9-hour flight to think and ponder away. Plus lots of time in the sun at that infinity pool overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. My mind was happy. My mind is really happy when it is in the planning stage of something. And when it gets to plan something exciting while sitting in a lounge chair under a tiki umbrella overlooking the Mediterranean Sea, well, it was really, really happy. And really productive. I should say, we didn't just lay around the whole time we were in Greece. We saw so many amazing things. I think one day in Athens, we put on like 22,000 steps or something, which included a lot of climbing inclines. Greek vacation, highly recommended. I've been to several different countries in this big, beautiful world, and the Greek islands are at the top of my favorites. Hit me up if you want any recommendations. So back to my podcast journey. Who would I cover in my very first episode? I thought it would be special to honor my dad. He passed away in 2018. Like I said, he loved Civil War history and he loved Gone with the Wind. So that's how I decided on Vivian Lee for my first episode. My dad would have loved this podcast. He would have been so happy to listen to my episodes each week. He actually would have listened to each one multiple times, guaranteed. He would have driven my mom mad having to listen to my voice all the time. And he would have definitely had so much input for me, and no doubt would have had at least one request every single day of who I should cover. My dad was a walking history book, a whole encyclopedia. He suffered from dementia the last few years of his life, but his mind still held an incredible amount of knowledge. He could talk for hours about the history of various events. I can just picture going over for a visit every Tuesday after preschool so we could discuss that day's episode. He would have just loved it. So although he can't hear my show and I can't sit down with him and talk about all the stars I'm researching and share facts and thoughts, I do this show in his honor because he would have truly loved it so much. Vivian Lee. My dad would have loved to hear her story. I researched her story and wrote that script while hopping around the Greek islands. My mind was clear from the mental chaos of running a preschool, and I just let my mental juices flow and spill out onto the screen. And it was written entirely on my iPhone since that's all I had with me. The book I read was on my iPhone Kindle app, and the script was written in Google Docs on my iPhone. So finally, I realized my mom must be wondering what I'm ferociously tapping away at on my phone the entire time we're sitting by the pool or on our balcony. I thought she probably thinks I'm having an affair. So I finally said to her, "You've probably noticed I've been typing a lot of stuff on my phone." And she replied, "I have. What are you working on?" So I told her my little secret. I had decided to start a podcast about stars from the golden age of Hollywood, and I was working on research for Vivian Lee. I hadn't mentioned it to anyone until that point, the point I figured I'd better tell my mom so she didn't think I was having an affair. Because I am the type of person that, if I verbally say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I make a grand proclamation, I have now put it out there in the world and I will hold myself accountable to it. Because I'm stubborn like that. And I don't want to be a failure. So now one person in the whole world knew of my little plan to start a podcast. And even though it was only one person, I had to go through with it. I ordered a microphone and everything else I would need while I was still in Greece so it would be there when I got home. That first episode, Vivian Lee, was released on Monday, June 3rd, 2024. And here we are today. And boy, have I learned a lot during this journey. The storytelling is the easy part. I didn't realize all of the technical stuff I would have to learn during the process. Different kinds of mics, different mic angles, the best room treatments, pop filters and windscreens, which boom arms are best for which mics, RSS feeds, what in the world is that? What host to use, how to get my show on all the platforms, and editing. I didn't want my show to sound like crap, so I learned a lot about editing. I'll admit it, those first shows are rough to go back and listen to. But I've learned a lot about the best room treatment, the best mic placement, and the best editing tricks. So I'm hoping my sound is tolerable to you today, and I hope to someday get it perfect. Oh, and another thing I learned that I had no idea was that YouTube videos are now called podcasts too. I was really confused at first because I thought podcasts were audio only, but apparently YouTube shows are podcasts. I don't know, it kind of blew my mind. And I will always be audio only, no video here. Like I said, I don't watch any videos of any kind, so I'm just not going to make that kind of content. And then comes the hardest part, discoverability. There are millions of podcasts out there. I told myself in the beginning that I would give myself 1 year. If it became too difficult or I lost interest, I would do it for 1 year and then decide if I wanted to go on. Well, here we are, 1 year later. Think this is my grand announcement that the show is over? No way, you guys are stuck with me. I decided a few months ago that 1 year wasn't enough. I'm extending that goal to 2 years because I've realized that building a listener base and a community for a podcast is a long, hard marathon. And I'm just now starting the climb of that last big hill. My weekly listens are climbing really fast now, and I want to see where it'll go from here. I've put in the work of collaborating with other podcasts to reach new ears. I've done the whole TikTok thing. I can't stand TikTok, by the way. Social media promotions, promoting on Reddit. No way am I giving up now after all that hard work. Plus, I'm loving the process. I love learning about these amazing individuals each week. Something I didn't consider when I embarked on this journey is the emotional toll that these stories would take me through. I mean, I'm essentially taking a ride through the entire life of each of these people, and in a very quick period of time. I consume a lot of detailed information each week about the person I'm researching, and it's just sometimes really emotional to have to see through their childhoods, dreams, failures, illnesses, triumphs, declines, and deaths all in the span of just a few days. And then I get thrown into a story like Audrey Hepburn or Steve McQueen, and I'm taken on an even more intense roller coaster of a ride. That Audrey Hepburn one was so tough for me. The details of her work with UNICEF really hit me hard. And then I get off that intense emotional roller coaster and have to jump right on another one. No time to decompress. Just know a lot of emotions are felt while I condense these life stories for you. Now, my goals going forward with the show are this. I will always put my listeners first. If for some reason this show gets big, which I know it never will, I will never abandon my listeners. The quality of this show will never suffer at the hands of success. You know what I'm talking about. You can hear a huge change in many indie podcasts once they get big. But a successful podcast is not a successful podcast without its listeners. You are the only reason this show exists, and you will always be my priority. I pay close attention to the negative feedback other podcasts receive. There are a few main things that I see time and time again that I will always strive to avoid. Number 1, too many ads. Many listeners say they will even turn off a show if it starts with ads, which is pretty much all of them now. I personally don't mind this in the shows I listen to. I mean, I would rather have ads at the start of the show than 5 minutes worth of mid-roll ads in the middle that I'm too busy to skip through with whatever I'm doing at the moment. But ads provide revenue for shows, and podcasts are a lot of work. Podcasts require a lot of time to produce, and a little money in return is kind of nice. So as you know, I just recently started using ads. And my promise to you is that I will always be very respectful in the amount and the placement of these ads, because I don't want to annoy you guys. My goal is to use mostly host-read ads, at least for the mid-roll ads. I think it just offers a more personal experience, and then I can control the volume. We all hate when a blaring loud mid-roll ad gives you a heart attack in the middle of one of your favorite podcasts. Number 2, too political. I see this a lot with podcasts once they get really big. Listeners complain about how once they blew up, they feel comfortable sharing more of their political beliefs on their shows. And let's be honest, talking about politics is just not enjoyable these days, no matter what side of the line you land on. I will never ever discuss political matters unless it's a fact I'm sharing about one of my subjects. It just doesn't get anyone anywhere anymore. So you'll always be safe here. Number 3, hosts' personalities change. With this, I mean, I've seen many comments on shows after they've risen to fame of how that fame has gotten to the host's head. Now, I know I'm never going to be famous, nor do I want to be. But if this show does somehow become something big, you can always count on me being exactly who you hear today. And I will always do my own research. Many shows hire researchers once they have the resources to do so, but you're in luck. I'm a massive control freak and could never trust someone else to do my research for me. Those are just a few things off the top of my head that I've seen complaints about in the podcast listener community. And circling back to what I said earlier, now that I've put these things out in the world and made these grand declarations to you, my stubborn Norwegian soul will stick to every one of them. My promise to you. So where will the show go from here? Beats me. But I have a very, very long list of stars I want to cover, so as long as I'm able to put out these stories every week, I intend to share the life of each and every one of them with you. That made me remember telling my husband about 4 months into the show that I was going to give it 1 year and then go from there. And his reply was, "That's great, but are there 52? I'm like, what? 52 what? He said, well, 1 episode per week for a year is 52. Are there really 52 Golden Age stars? Oh, bless his heart. And as always, I would love to hear any of your recommendations. And also any feedback or things that you would like to see differently about the show. I don't take criticism well, but if you're gentle with me, I'm all ears. I hope to continue turning out episodes and building a community of listeners for years to come. And it's because of all of you that I'm able to do that. You give me the drive to make this show the best I can make it. So thank you. Thank you all so, so, so much. I can't believe that people actually want to listen to me talk every week. I'm so incredibly thankful for each and every one of you. So please feel free to reach out anytime on Facebook or Instagram. You can find Stars of the Golden Age on both. Or you can email me at goldenagestars@gmail.com. Shoot me your requests anytime. Thank you all so much. I really, really mean it. Now, picture me raising a glass and toasting this show as we celebrate 1 year. Because if there's ever a reason to drink champagne, I'm drinking champagne. Cheers, everyone.